Hi everyone, I'm Steve here with Pastor Victor Brote. How you doing, Pastor? Thanks for being with us.
I made it today.
Nice. You mean I made it?
Yeah, you made it.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the economy. Just random blab like we so often do. My background is in business and in finance, and you've also been a business owner. So let's just talk about some of the points. Uh, the politics of this just cracks me up because the way the economy works and the way it's affected is really quite simple. So let's get you. We'll get your opinion first, and then we'll have mine. What happens when legislators force an increase in minimum wage?
Well, immediately changed the value of the dollar, along with other things. And a long time ago, I ran a restaurant. And boy, when your labor cost goes up and it doubles or close to that, you have a handful to deal with. And the cost of everything's going up. But on the other hand, if I'm running a restaurant, I cut down on my labor because that's a big expense. And instead of people doing things, maybe machines could do things. And so I'll have only a few people working for me. And then also on top of that, what happens is instead of being full-time, you go to the part-time mode. And in the part-time mode, you don't have the same benefit expenses. And so everything changes. So you have your employees probably working at night on one job and working another job at another hour. It's just a crazy idea. Go ahead. It's all yours.
Yeah, I mean it's a mess because you have regulators or politicians actually messing with nature. Now, I'm a small business owner. I mean, my businesses aren't dinky, but they're not giant either. But businesses have budgets and they have a payroll budget. When you say you have to pay an individual this, what happens is now there's less workers, and the workers that are maintained have to work harder because it all comes out in the wash. And
Sure.
yes, it sounds good to people that don't understand how the economy works. But when you raise the minimum wage, you force an increase in the minimum wage, people are going to get laid off. When people get laid off, less money is spent in the economy. When less money is spent in the economy, it goes down. The economy weakens because there's less people buying things because they don't have money because they got laid off. And, you see one party take credit for this or the other party take credit for this. There's a delayed reaction with this happening. It doesn't just happen when you raise the minimum wage and then boom, all of a sudden, tomorrow, the next day, the economy is affected. No, it can take 2, 3, 4 years just in time to blame the next party that comes into power. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
It's amazing. And as a small business owner, you see it instantly. You know it's happening. And it's like, that you're ready to drown if you don't react instantly because you lose customers that way. And I found for me, if I'm going to hire somebody, they need to be worth my time to train them. They need to be smart enough to go to it just like that. If they don't, forget it. They're gone. And you just don't understand all the ramifications. It's not like you can just raise the price on everything. I also, as a general contractor, You see all these things going up, and then the people that you visit, that you service, are going like, why did this go up so much? Well, my license went up double. My fees went up this way and that way, and I go through a whole list. Gas went up. I mean, here in Southern California, I read about gas being in the 270s someplace, but that's almost half of what we're paying here. It's just, the more regulation you get, the more likely you are to just throw up your hands and say, I'm just going to relax. I'm not going to be productive. I will not fight this battle. And that's, I mean, I'm a little bit older. And so I've gotten to that point where I only have in my business a few customers less. They're really good customers, and I'll just at my leisure deal with it. I won't have to fix something that some employee did incorrectly. And so you see so many layers of things cutting down because of that problem. And I cut down, and I said, the heck with it, because it was such a challenge. Just to explain, guys, I am a pastor, a master's degree, all that stuff, pastored churches, but I also paid for my own ministries. So I could go off and put a crew of people to work, sometimes as many as 60. And then I could go off and do ministry and do kind of follow up later on and in between. But I've given up on that because it's been so expensive doing business and so frustrating, just going up and up and up. And then people don't really understand why people, are complaining and feeling the pinch and spending less money. But we are seeing right now in this year, the credit card ratio to debt is just going through the roof. That means that the average American is spending more and having less to spend. And we're seeing it already. I know it takes months and months to get this going, but a few years from now, I think we're going to be in real trouble.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before there's a tank. But here's what a smart business owner, that's why you want to leave these business owners alone. They're smart people. I might not be that smart, but I know how things work. I figure things out. The smartest business owners are going to pay their employees the most.
Yes.
They're going to pay them as high amount of money as they can. Now, let me tell you why and a little bit about my philosophy. Employees come first. Employees come first. I put my first priority into the employees, and we have hundreds of them, hundreds. And the reason I do that is because I want our staff members delivering a very quality product. But you have to have the best staff members to do that. To get the best staff members, you have to pay them the most. You can't be cheap in that area, or you're just going to cost yourself more money. So it's better if the politicians stay out of this. Let the business owners who know how things work, who have been successful, and the business owners that aren't successful, they don't figure this stuff out. That's why they're not successful and they don't have businesses anymore. So now those staff members, are going to deliver a phenomenal product. They're going to do a great job. They're not going to quit. They're not going to move on. They're not going to try to move up.
I'm going to cut in here just for a second. Is a number of employees that I hired on the kind of entry level, they thought that they just came to work so I could pay them. That's not the case. The reason you hire employees is those people can work for you and create income, create value. If they don't create value, they need to go away. And so the the more expensive labor gets, the more I had to put demand on employees to produce. So the entry-level jobs, unless you just worked your tail off and you were outstanding, I didn't put up with entry-level much. And the longer I went into business, the more I saw that you have to look at the bottom line. If you're just being a nice guy, you're going to get run right over. It's the reality of doing business. So for me, I could see so clearly that new people to the organization were cut down to a minimum, and those who started had to prove themselves almost at day one. If not, they were gone right away. Because there's another thing. After you keep an employee a while, you're stuck with them. So you got to get rid of them at the outset if they're not productive. Otherwise, you're paying unemployment insurance. And it snowballs on things. And keeping good people is so valuable. I remember in the restaurant business, it was a cheap product, everything was kind of at the bottom rung. But you wanted good people. You wanted to grab your arms around them and keep them in your organization if they're going to make you money. Otherwise, you've got to get rid of them. And so I could see just really clearly, I'd rather buy a $100,000 machine than have 3 people working for me and then have to just juggle through the junk that often goes on with new employees.
Yeah, let me just explain to everyone listening what Victor's talking about. I'll explain it in a different way. Because to me, employees come first, no doubt. And that's how you're going to put out a great product. But you're talking about positions. Everyone has a position. And you don't create positions. And I learned this, in school. I created this business plan that had all these positions in it. But each position, and then you put an employee in that position, each position has to deliver a return for the company. So what that means, if the employee or the staff member makes $50,000 a year, the company needs $70,000 coming in because of that position. If you have a position that you're paying $50,000 to, and because of that position, you're only getting $40,000 coming into the company, you need to eliminate that position, because that position is a loss. That position is causing the company, maybe not the person may be phenomenal, but that position is causing a $10,000 loss because it's a position that's not effective or needed, or maybe you have too many of that position. So that's kind of what you're talking about there. Exactly. But my point is that let nature take its course. And what happened is decades, 100 years ago, minimum wage got started because of child labor laws and taking advantage of people. Now, we're in a competitive environment now to where any company that takes advantage of staff members is going to lose. So that won't work anymore. So now the politicians can get out of our way. And when they get out of our way, nature will take its course. The business owners, the companies will make the decisions that have to be made to be profitable, because we're not the government. We can't print money. Any last thoughts, Victor?
Wow, there is so much there. It's as if when it comes to the government, basic economy isn't understood at all. When it comes to food around the dinner table, you can't just print money. You can't just make things happen the way you want them to. It's sort of like going hunting for unicorns. It's not there, but our government is going all around the nation hunting for unicorns. It's just a crazy way to do things, and my concern is that we're going to kind of hit a wall, and we got to wake up. We got to make some changes. We can't just do one people group against another or one ideal against another, but we have to have situations where people come doing things practically in our government world. So yeah,
You know, this is the last thing I'll say, and that is that politicians have different objectives than business people. A company, my companies, have an objective. Their objective is to get, or our objective is to make a profit, make money, grow. That's our company's objectives, is to, bottom line, make money. Here's what a politician's objective is. It's not to make money. It's to get reelected. A politician's objective is to get reelected. That has nothing to do with a business that wants to make money. So these politicians make policies that they think that are going to get them reelected while they crush the economy. It's a conflict. So anyway, we'll come back, Victor. We'll talk about some other business stuff, maybe inflation or something like that. Inflation would be a good one. Or how it comes down, what makes it go up and all that. So thanks for being with us, Pastor Brote, and we will talk to you next time.
All right, great.